And there we are, back in Barovia. Everybody.
Hey!
Welcome back. We've got with us today. It's been like a couple of weeks.
It's been like 4.
Yeah.
10 years.
It's been 84 years.
Back in my day.
Our characters used to be level 6 last time we were here. Now they're level 7 because they absolutely saved the Wizards of Wine's winery. An army of terrible twig blights and terrible mannered druids. Pretty sure you tore them to pieces, all of them, with maybe 1 or 2 exceptions who scattered out the door. Going in the direction southerly towards Yester Hill, which happened to be struck by lightning repeatedly, continuously, like you do. At this moment, still going. Pap, pap,
Totally
pap.
normal.
Yeah.
Nothing going on.
And so we have with us the broken fighter, Segrid, played by Miss Misery. We've got the exquisite bard, Dantiir, played by Thimbrius. We've got the
Wow.
brother to that bard,
Wow.
role-playing hard tonight. Toren, our ASMR grave cleric, played by Squid Kittens, and our second ASMR, our devotion paladin.
Just because I'm second doesn't mean I'm second rate.
Oh, it's like first violin, second violin.
Okay, I accept that.
Together, they make music. You could not have harmony with only one.
Yeah,
Playing
true.
Anna tonight, Bad Wolf, and Ezra, our necromantic sorcerer, will be with us at another time. The One Silent 1-1 is on a random road trip, which if you follow her on Twitter, the One Silent 1-1, then you can find out what's happening there. For tonight, we're back in Barovia. Lightning is striking Yester Hill. The Mardikov family is trying to clear up what damage there has been done to the winery. The young lads and ladies are kind of going up to their rooms, collecting what they can. You've at least saved them their home, for the most part, even if the 3 main vats of wine are kind of poisoned and not so great for consumption. It'll be a while, especially given that, well, it turns out there used to be 3 magic gems that kept the wine growing, kept it pure, kept it powerful and potent. And at least one was lost to the druids. One other was taken by other forces, and old Damien Mardikov, the grandpappy of this bunch, believes that it is the fault of his ne'er-do-well young son, the fair Rothfussian Mardikov, who runs the Blue Water Inn in Vallaki. Sometime when he was courting his lady beau, that, well, maybe he wasn't looking too hard, but the first of the 3 gems went missing those many years ago. You at least know where one might be. You know that there's a bunch of unnatural lightning, and you know that this fight isn't over. You are all completely long rested. You have everything back. You are, in fact, now at level 7 because you've been in Barovia long enough, and you have had it up to here with all of this, and it's time things got done. What do you want to do?
I want to kill Strahd!
Strahd flies overhead.
Roll to kill Strahd. So we know, like, where we have to go for this, correct?
There is a lot of lightning in the southerly direction.
Okay. Do we know what is in that direction?
No, but I bet there's a grandpa we can ask.
Who will accidentally tell us, most likely. Yeah, Dantiir will just not to the grandfather, but to the son who is not curmudgeon-y. Be like, so what's with all the lightning?
Seems like a rather bad sign, I think. Might have something to do with the druids who were just here. You saw them, same as I did, sneaking off in that direction.
You know where it is? Like, is there something off in that direction that it would make sense for the druids to flee to?
He kind of peers out there on the second floor window where it's been crashed out from the last druid who,
Shot in the butt.
yeah, got bit in the butt by Anna and all of the things that happened.
I didn't bite someone in the. Oh wait, with my crossbow. Got it.
All right, I did.
Yeah.
That counts as character recap. And looks off into the distance. Well, that's likely hidden down at Yester Hill. A lot of cairns over there, black rock, and kind of ominous. They say if you look out upon it, you can see into the lands beyond. It's really quite the edge of this little valley. You can walk out into the mists, but that's about it.
Is there anywhere in this land that isn't ominous?
I was just about to ask the same question. They say great minds think alike.
Andrew Mardikov just kind of shrugs his shoulders. We've been doing the best we can to keep people cheerful in this valley, and he looks down to the first floor where the vats are just being emptied out so that at least that purple poison doesn't have to harm anybody. This is gonna take a while to. I don't know if we can recover from this. Oh, we've got I think a couple barrels loaded up in the wagon.
What will you do if you can't recover?
I think we'll be okay just as a family. We gave out the wine for free, just each of the villages here. Little Barovia, Valaki, Kresk, even old Berez when it was still around. It's kept people going. I don't know if the winery isn't here for them. I don't see how they'll really have much quality of life, you know what I mean?
Well, hopefully you will be able to at least rebuild a little bit. Is there anything that we can do to help?
Unless you can turn water into wine or poison into wine or pretty much anything into wine.
Was I smart enough to take purify food and drink?
They're pouring out their lifeblood into the floor.
Wine into wine.
No, I would have done that. I'm just a
Bad
dumb
wine into better wine?
Hold on.
Hang on.
Do I even have that? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes, I would like to. I don't know how much does that purify. Don't worry, guys. We're going into a giant fight, but I'm going to use some spells real quick.
Okay, cool.
With a 5-foot radius sphere.
Okay.
So
That's a lot of.
that's 10-foot diameter.
How many would that do? At least one of the vats?
Yeah, at least one of the vats.
Okay. Then yes, I would like to approach, sort of gesture towards the vats and say which they would like to be returned to them, hopefully.
Okay. Well, the last one all the way on the east side, that's absolutely broken, and they've mostly poured out the first, but any of the two that are in the center of their winery, they're welcome for you to try.
Okay, I'll try the one closest to the one they're dumping out. And I will cast Purify Food and Drink.
Fascinating. How's that work?
All non-magical food and drink. Oh, it's probably magic. Shit. Within a 5-foot radius sphere centered on a point of my choice within range is purified and rendered free of poison and disease. And it's a ritual, so I'm going to cast it as a ritual so it doesn't take a spell slot.
Alrighty. So as you start your ritual enchantments onto this, the other Mardikovs are going to kind of pause on dumping out the remains of the first vat here, and I think while that's going on, Anna, there's a young preteen girl who comes up to you and says, she kind of very demurely, very shyly, and just once tugs on your top, and she just asks, did you find my mirror?
I haven't had a chance to look for it. Jeez, we just got here. Where did you leave it last?
I think it was downstairs, maybe? We had to leave real fast.
Alright, so I'll go downstairs and search for the mirror.
Okay. So you can give me investigation check in the cellar. It's not so many broken things at the moment. And Toren, let's have you do an Arcana check, mostly for, let's see how fast we can speed this one up.
Okay. Ooh. I haven't done the spell in a while, guys.
And I got a 14.
Say something mean, but I won't.
Hey!
That's the same about on par for Toren's trying to help people.
Alright. Alright, Toren, you haven't used your abilities to do this in ever before. But you know this is in you. You know this is within your capabilities. And so while one vat does transform such that the smell is gone, that's a good sign. The second vat that you have nearby is only affected slightly. So it just seems this is a very rugged contamination that has happened here. But as the Mardikovs test out the vat that you'd been going through, that's a definite success in that you have saved possibly the lifeblood of an entire town with this one vat.
Finally did. I mean, you did it.
Good job, brother.
You haven't been here long enough to see all my failures.
You don't even know half of my failures.
As an ASMR, she just feels it in all of her past lives.
Feels the failure. Wow.
The Mardikovs are overjoyed, and they say, like, please do it for the next one in that part. And so, point of inspiration to Toren, because that's definitely a good thing. Yay. And you've saved one of the towns. Anna, you with your investigation check, you find that the looking glass that the girl had, little Stefania, the cellar has an area that hasn't really been used for a long while. It looks like most of the bottles were empty or smashed or taken, and there is kind of almost a cubby corner that somebody had taken one of the older shelves and kind of stored away a couple of things, like a stool, this looking glass, as well as a couple of drawings of charcoal. And so it is there. It managed to escape the damage from the fight. One of the shelves where it had been hosted got knocked over, but was blocked by the stool. So the looking glass itself didn't get hurt too badly.
Alright, so I'll grab the looking glass and the charcoal paint pictures and bring them back up to her.
They look like they've been more fanciful drawings. It's like somebody's been trying to make a picture of someone, but either the eyes are too far apart, or the hair is wrong, or there's looks like a lot of drawings of just one person. And
Oh, she's doing a self-portrait.
she's been trying.
Just
And
trying to
as you bring it back up to Stefania, her eyes light up that you've got the looking glass. Her eyes immediately dart down to where you've got the drawings, and she like freezes.
I found your stuff.
She opens her mouth, and she like reaches very slowly for the glass, and then very quickly for the drawings.
You just gotta keep practicing. Practice every day. Every day.
And she kind of looks. She's holding onto those drawings like to her chest. It is tight, and like to the point that where they might be crumpling a little bit. And the other hand just has the looking glass. And are you wearing makeup? She's not looking at Anna when
Well,
she's saying
you
this.
know, I try to do this whole like makeupless makeup look. Like, you can't really tell, but yeah, I am wearing makeup.
I knew it. And she looks up at you, and she has been spending the night out in the woods for at least a week. And this is a young lady who is,
She's the one I gave my boots to, right?
yes,
Okay.
she was very happy. She has nothing but older brothers and a mother, and there's not even a grandmother here. But she is looking at you with like you are a celebrity in her eyes.
It's true. It's true. It's true. All right, I will dig through my bag, and I will put together, like, you know, those little like sample bags that you can get at makeup stores.
Okay.
You don't, but Tammy does. Your wife might. I'll put together like little samples of all my little makeups, and I'll give her the little bag.
She cannot believe this. Like this could not have been more of a treasure than if you had been pulling out opalescent gems and jewelry and magic fineries and enchantments. And she's just looking at it. And can you give me an example? What would be something that is here in the sampler?
Probably like a little tiny tin of what looks like probably coal dust that she uses to like do her eyes, and then probably a little like stick, like, you know, those like natural wooden colored pencils, but they're red. If you wet it, you can make lipstick from it, and then also blush.
She's looking at these, and she's just having a feel for them in her very fingers. And of the wooden pencils, she kind of like, she's not looking at, she turns away slightly as if she's like trying to look in a different part of the corner. But what she's really doing is that when she's not facing you, she licks it so that she can see the color change, that part. And then she like kind of brings up her mirror to kind of, and sticks out her tongue to see if like any of that got on her tongue, and that it changed that part. And she sees that it did change, and she has these things in her arms, and she's still holding onto the drawings on one side, but she shifts it, and then she kind of stuffs it into her jumper that she has there. She's about 13. It's already getting a little old for that, but it's what she has from her family. And she just turns back, and Anna, you receive the tightest hug that you have had in like months. This is no one from the devotary of Sunni has probably done this to its priestesses, because it's a little more formal in that setting. It's kind. But this is a lifeline that this young lady has not had, because that's not what exists here in Barovia.
The other thing that Anna will give her is a little silver handled like hairbrush.
She doesn't know if she's allowed to have this.
You can have it. I'm doing this thing now where I don't really brush my hair, I more comb it. So I think your hair would, you could brush your
We're about to die, and she's in Sephora right now.
Yep.
It's another good turn done for there. And so while Toren finishes off, I think the last of the vats that hasn't had to be poured out, Anna also gets a point of inspiration for changing a young girl's life in the happiest teen in Barovia, I think, in the whole place. Not counting.
Not a very high accolade.
Well,
It's gonna
it's
be
like
not a lot of competition.
the happiest living teen in Barovia so far.
Even fewer.
I think you've met like 3, and counting Ezra as one of them. And at that
I
point,
don't know. He's super happy to be in Barovia. So
see,
He is like the happiest teen in Barovia.
at that point, overhead there is so Anna and Stefania, they can't quite hear it, but for the others, Toren, who you're there on the first floor near the vats, Segrid as well, especially being centered there, and Dantiir, who I think was still up on the second floor, helping clear out some things. There is an unmistakable clop of hooves and shaking of the roof, but it's as if, but to put it in another way, like Santa and his 8 prancing reindeer, but it is definitely not in an expected way at all. That's kind of weird. And you hear a most monstrous snorting and a whinny. And then there's a couple more clops as just this heavy horse falls clop across the roof. And then you hear it gather speed again, and then leap, and then Dantiir out that window where you've been looking out to Yester Hill. You see this beast of a horse that just goes through the air, from the roof, of course, in the south direction. And they are just flying. And I say they because the horse has a rider. And Dantiir looking through the window. And
I recognize this writer.
oh yeah,
Okay.
this rider is none other than the very Count Strahd von Zarevich. And Dantiir, he's flipping you off.
I did say I wanted to kill him. Can I roll to kill him?
You can see if Dantiir, do you let anybody know this is happening?
Not at like. I don't know if I have time to like let.
historically, he won't.
He's
Like, as
he
soon
brings
as
out
I-
like another bird, just both of them, as this horse goes flowing
Are
through.
they? Which way are they headed?
They're heading south,
Okay. Which way was the hill?
also south.
Okay,
They're
great.
like riding the storm winds.
Okay.
Segrid, I need you to do a quick wisdom saving throw.
Oh snap!
And Dantier will like book it downstairs to let it.
Oh no!
What have I done now?
Segrid, it has been a very, very long and trying half day, and it is now getting near noon. The snow has stopped coming down as soon as this lightning storm came about. But it is, to you, almost as if it is deep, deep night, because all of a sudden you are no longer in the winery. You are again outside your last home with your mother and sister, and they are again calling out to see if you are near. You hear them saying, it's like, I could have sworn we heard her. And from, like, casually leaning against the door frame is the vampire lord of Barovia, and he's just looking down upon your mother and your sister, and they don't seem to be able to see him. He's got his back against the wall, and he has in his hands, flipping, one very familiar axe. And he just has the one. And he looks over at you, Segrid. And as he's looking at you, he raises that one axe in his hand. And he brings it down with all due swiftness and all might, and it's heading towards people in that doorway. And Segrid, that's when you snap out of that vision, and you are back in the winery. And this, you see Dantiir coming down the stairs, and you see Toren victorious in all of his glory, as he has now turned wine into wine. And Anna's coming up from downstairs, and there is a very joyful young girl just chattering about her and asking about parts of pencils and blush and coal dust.
As soon as he gets down, he's just going to be like, Strahd is heading south. He just landed on the rooftop, I believe, and started flying south on a horse. Because apparently, of course, he has a flying horse.
Sigurd's probably gonna start screaming, and I think she's gonna hit the broken barrel with her great axe just a few times.
That's a big axe. That used to be a big
I
barrel.
know it's here. You just fucked with my head again. And she's, again, hitting it and probably crying. Rage cry.
I think Anna's gonna run up
Rage cry.
to see.
That's a free action.
She's gonna like run to the window.
Like to cry.
It is very clear that there is a giant black flying horse, like a great stallion, but where it would have its colored mane and maybe even dust rising up from its hooves, it's maybe 30, 50 feet in the air, and from its mane and hooves, tail, and even the very breath that it breathes as it snorts out into the air, it is a black furred horse, but the mane and the hair and its very exaltations are of bright red fire. And it is that demon horse, Bocephalus. Strahd rides out into the night. And you see this on it's a bit too far away, but it almost looks like somebody's flipping you off. That would be ridiculous.
He doesn't even know me yet.
Doesn't even know you.
He thinks it might be me again.
I think he's waving. He likes me.
And he's going
I wanna
directly where you had seen the lightning, which is still going on.
Okay.
Though there
He's
is.
headed towards the lightning, guys.
That's what I said.
While
I wasn't listening to you.
all right, 1 point for Anna.
This is
Well,
nice.
to be fair, I kind of stopped listening after you said Strahd was upstairs.
Dantiir cries now as a free action.
It's just a single stoic here.
As much as I loathe the idea that we need to go in the same direction as the Count,
Wah, ha,
It's-
ha, ha.
I don't even know why I'm here. It's likely better that we know he's going there than have him come up on us unawares.
It's better not to be surprised. Yes.
Obviously, we haven't solved the root of the problem. I hate myself for saying that.
Down to your last approval.
Glare.
Oh, everybody drink. That was a title drop. That was.
But we had an escapee heading in that direction. More than likely there are reinforcements, and we can't leave them here to continue on like everything is fine
Agreed.
when it's more than likely not.
Definitely agreed.
Well, at least I got my morning warm up. I need to go kill something now.
I know. I feel really refreshed after that battle. Like, really, just like I'm good to go. I feel like we rested.
I feel like
For like 8 hours.
we learned a
I
lot.
know.
Like maybe if we had to put a number on it, maybe like 27,000 points of knowledge of increase.
I know. It was really weird. It was like while I was fighting, I was feeling like really dragged down. But as soon as we killed the last guy,
Like,
it
I was
like
fighting and reading at the same time.
It was amazing. I feel really amazing, guys.
That's great.
Dantiir's gonna turn to our lovely hosts. Like, do you have anything that might be of good use? Something that would be extremely useful going up against whatever we're going up against?
Toren will just point at everything that is wrecked and be like, yes, they obviously have something.
Dantiir's just ignoring his brother.
Like,
Because he knew that's what his reaction would be.
The grandpa, Damien Mardukov, will say, like, you're gonna go up against a vampire, you're gonna need some wood. You're gonna need some stakes. And he starts grabbing at the broken bits of, like, ignoring what Segrid's doing to the large vat, which was ruined anyway. He starts very enthusiastically grabbing at all of that wood, and he's now gathered, like, a bundle of broken shards. And this, he usually walks with a cane, so he's got, like, a bit of a limp as he brings it over to Dantiir. It's like, here, lad, son, you'll need these. And he just starts piling more. He's now putting on, like, small bits of wood, just sprinkling it on the top. That it's like, rub it into your skin, protection. And he just, like, pats you on the back, puts part of your cloak over it. It's like, keep it from damp. Now you go out there. You go get back our gem from these druids. And
Nice. Is there any of them that look serviceable as, like, stakes?
actually, yeah, there's about 5. The rest are absolute garbage because Segrid is serious when she makes damage happen.
Hey, I am going to give everybody a stake.
Okay.
I'm hungry.
I'm not going to take one.
Okay, and Dantiir's going to keep the one that Toren won't take.
Okay.
So 1 to everybody, including Ezra. And 2 to me.
Alrighty. Ezra, as you're going out, kind of looks down at where the ashes are of Ezra's former necromantic servants. And Ezra just kind of gives them, like, a blessed little pat. And says that they did good jobs.
Oh, I still don't feel guilty.
And there's a reason why everybody is here in this Barovian place. And Toren, you do hear a whisper in your ear that says, there is a reason for why you are here. And it is a voice you hadn't heard in a very long time, since even reaching into Barovia, the earliest days. And it says, you are here to fix it.
No.
And you are going in a good direction, the voice says. And then the whispers are kind of gone again. There was a little bit of a strain in the voice at the end, as if speaking from very far away.
Toren automatically assumes that strain is because that voice knows he's failing miserably.
Oh,
And
you just saved a whole town.
and he just looks miserable for about 4 seconds before he manages to pull himself back together.
On the path and going towards Yester Hill, there is thick mist, as you have only seen in a couple of places. To the west of this part of the forest, and you do see a hill that's not as tall as the mountains that had the small villages you've come from. Not as tall as the mountains even past Valaki, but a grand hill. It looks to be something similar to, if there was a great burial mound of some sort, something where you would bury kings and all their finery. This would be a place of it. Someone who has dined with mountain dwarves and they set them a cairn in a special place. This is where you would see it. It's a hill of at least 40 feet up itself in height. And so what you see as you approach and get closer is that in this area, the hill, though great in height and breadth, is covered in nothing but dead and low laid grass in terms of vegetation. There are otherwise numerous, quite likely more than 100 stone cairns of black, glossy rock, placed almost looking haphazardly, except for that there is no loose stone. They all fit, they all interlock, and there are worn paths that lead up and around this hill. And now that you are ever so close, you can see that there is in fact atop the hill a wide ring of these black boulders and smaller rocks that make kind of this makeshift wall at the top. And the lightning that's striking, this is a couple times in a minute. The air is thick with the smell of ozone, and you can almost feel the hairs standing right up on your arms and back of your neck from just the charges that are here. The lightning is striking that very center wall there at the top of the hill. It's illuminating a ghastly 50-foot tall statue. Looks to be made of tightly woven twigs packed with black earth. It resembles a towering, cloaked man with an artistic take of fangs made of branches of wood. And, well, there are, like I said, over 100 of these stone mounds. There are these hills. These lightning striking the black rocks atop the hill. And Segrid, as you are now even closer to where a whisper had asked you to come to, it comes to you again stronger. And it repeats itself in with slight change. It says, "Long have I waited for one who is worthy. My spear hungers for blood. Retrieve it and rule these mountains in my stead, just like the mighty warriors from the early days of the Whispering Wall." And Segrid, for in between the lightning flashes, you could swear that those 200 stone cairns, those effigies of worked rock, in between the flashes, you could swear that those are 200 mountain men and women with spears rattling and heads pointed towards that center wall as if they hate it. For Dantiir, Toren, and Anna, the lightning strikes are slowing down, but you have been focused on Well, the flying horse. The one with red flame. The one that is standing at attention as its master stands atop its back. And as Strahd, the vampire lord of this domain, looks down upon all of you, there's some movement from inside that center stone wall at the top of the hill. You can hear and see cast off blankets of dirty earth and matted grass, and almost appearing as if they have either been hewn up from the dirt itself or broken out of shallow graves. There are at least a half dozen dirty druids. I say dirty because they have covered in dirt and snow.
Are they holding?
The dirtiest of it. Druids.
They're swearing. They're swearing loyalty to the Lord, to the ancient, to the land, to the Lord of this land. They are all chanting, and in a form of druidic that, unless you're familiar, is too arcane for you to understand. Except they are chanting Lord Strahd's name, and as they do so below, the lightning continues to strike the wall, and there is a glow coming from within, somewhere within the chest of that effigy statue, and he raises his arm out as if in blessing to all of them below. And he does look at them, and he does smile, but his eyes go up to where you four are, and his wave turns into 2 fingers held up. And he moves his hand as if that to call that as another strike. And he sits back down upon Bucephalus, and with a whinny, there is now a very fast-moving horse that is leaving that area, but at the moment is still there, because I'm going to ask you all to roll for initiative.
Okay, so since we would never, I really want to tell them how we did this, Tammy.
No, afterwards.
Okay,
No,
all right.
after.
All right.
No spoilers.
Okay. I rolled the exact same for both of
I
my.
have to find myself first. I don't see myself.
Yeah, I don't
Roll
see,
again. Where
Oh,
I
yeah,
missed
where you
them
should
up,
have-
yeah.
Are
I don't
we
see Anna or Toren.
up there? Okay. We'll fix that.
Oh man, I'm tiny. Or rather, this is really big.
It's a really big hill, you guys.
Hey,
All
look,
right.
there's a series of bats.
Oh, it's a series of bats.
Series of unfortunate bats.
No, just a series of bats.
Mhm.
I have to pee. I'll be right back.
All right. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da.
That is 16.
This is a really big map. All right.
Very big.
All right. Segrid's there. Anna's there. Oh, you know what? I thought I was going to have to pull Strahd into this map. Nope. Baron Strahd von Zarevich and Bucephalus.
Bucephalus.
The
That
whole-
is such a great name.
The monster horse is there.
The monster horse Bucephalus.
He's,
Oh, God.
he's very close to you.
He is very.
Ah, I still don't see a me.
Oh,
There is not a you.
That's because I left. I got out.
Oh, he's really close to us.
Yeah.
Very, very close.
Oh, there I am.
He is very close to you. He has already blessed this ceremony. It seems to be going very well. And
It's like, cool, I didn't roll that high, I won't be at first. Nope.
Oh, Toren.
You guys ready to die before we even take on the druids?
Oh, I'm so stoked.
That'd be amazing. All this for making fun of the babies. If we hadn't have made fun of babies, Strahd wouldn't have been here.
you know what? That's just one of those life lessons. It's just...
I use my inspiration to unmake fun of babies.
Oh.
No, I don't. I really don't.
Strahd's got some good initiative. All right.
Oh, Strahd.
Okay. Fine then.
I would like to seduce the horse.
Roll! You can try, but the horse will just say nay.
Mhm. I mean, yes.
I'd like to say now, just in case she watches this, Shelby, I'm sorry we got everyone killed.
There is there's just that half dozen bits of druids who were there at the top who I'm trying to drag into place. There are, of the persons nearby, there are ones who are not dressed in exactly the same manner. They look like they are, well, to put in some type of fashion point, dressed in a manner more similar to Segrid and how she was when first coming upon Barovia, except these folk have a wild look upon their face, one that in the shadows of the lightning is a bit deranged, as they are also chanting with axes high into the air at the blessing that Strahd has given them upon this night, this half day, as the clouds are still dark. So you have some berserkers here on the field, besides the druids. They can be reckless at times. They are, well, they're fair chaotic, and they're a little bit of trouble.
Oh no.
And
they have popped out of the ground in similar manner to the druids, so they have been camped out here.
Are these like mole druids?
All
Like,
I
are
can-
they legit
all I can imagine is that scene from Mulan where
Oh
it's
yeah,
like, they popped out of the snow like daisies.
that's where they've gone. They were just waiting for the signal. They were waiting for that monster horse from the sky.
Oh, I'm not the worst.
Really?
Druids got a 2.
Wow.
So they were not meant to act fast. They were literally waiting for a signal this entire time when they could have been just devastating everything. So I'm going to say that Strahd von Zarovich is going to go first up here. And with he's already given you everybody the finger at this point. And towards Segrid, there is something shining. And I need you to do a dexterity saving throw. Okie dokie.
Yep.
Segrid, what damage were your axes?
1 D6.
You take 1 damage as this. So you're gonna catch this axe in any
the
way that
face.
you want, so long as it is slightly damaging. How does that come?
I'm sorry, my Zoom just crashed, so I didn't hear you.
Oh, sure. So you are catching back 1 of your ancestral axes of a pair. It's coming back to you very forcefully, but you are getting it back. How does that go? You are catching it, but in a way that hurts.
I think it'll probably. I'm gonna say probably it hits me a little low, probably like in the hip, something like that.
All right. So you take a dig a bit in the hip. It gets mostly stopped by your armor as you hear a laugh from about 40 feet above you. Like, dear Segrid, this has proven to be quite a useful tool in our little contest here in the valley. I don't think I'll be needing it anymore. I think it will be quite soon when this game is over and either you all have failed and are all dead, or you have succeeded and I wouldn't need it anymore anyway. So have it back. The Lord of Barovia is not unmagnanimous. And then he just yucks it up. He is not even moving from where he is.
Please tell me it is a really unmanly laugh.
How would that go?
Like Jimmy Carr? Do you know how Jimmy Carr laughs?
Or like what's the character with the silver hair who's adorable?
It's
Anderson Cooper. Anderson.
It's the Final Fantasy laugh.
Imagine that as you will. The worst kept secret. He clearly had to kill his parents because they would not have allowed him to laugh like this.
It wouldn't let me giggle. It was terrible.
This is the worst, but you do have one of two axes back. And Bucephalus is winning beneath him. He is still 40 feet above everybody, but that means it's Dantiir's turn.
Okay. I am going to... I get to blame this on Tammy because it's your coin. Okay. I am going to move a little bit closer. And let's see, so that's 1, 2. And I'm going to need the druid over there to make a wisdom?
Sounds fair.
Let me just make sure. Yes, wisdom save.
Alrighty, that's a 6. I don't think he was expecting this.
No. It takes 21 points of psychic damage. And it needs to immediately use its reaction, if available, to move as far as its speed allows away from you.
Okie doke. That druid who's been waiting out here all day. Can you point to it there on the map? Is it the closest one?
Yeah, it's the one that's like 40 feet to my left.
Oh, good. So this would have been the one just praising Strahd even as he's leaving, and there's one other word it was uttering out with Dantiir. You think it was in common, but its chants turn to screams as he holds his head, and just blood starts pouring out of his nose and eyes as if he's crying this way. And he holds his head, and just you see his eyes roll back, and he passes out. But Dantiir, the last thing you heard him say was tree.
Well, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I am going to use my bonus action to inspire my brother.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a D8.
A date.
Yep.
It's about time, Toren. About time. You are 42. It is.
Need to get out of the house.
Time for a date.
I'm only 40.
Oh,
Rude.
Still time for a date. Are you the 40-year-old virgin? You know that movie?
Oh.
Toren has been a grave cleric for a very long time.
He's only good with the. Oh no, I take that back.
Need to have a talk, brother. This is not okay.
We're not gonna. That's not what I meant. Moving on. Who's next?
How'd that be, Anna?
Do I get a sense that Strahd is going to engage in this battle, or is he just amusingly watching?
He is very amusingly watching. And he is still 40 feet up, so it seems like from the position one would have, one could fly and assume that nobody else could.
Assume that no one else could.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should attack Strahd or if I should just focus on the druids.
You can flip a coin. That's what I did.
Yeah, that's going to happen right now.
That's the true fates. That's
Heads is Strahd, tails is druids.
I had animals as druids and fish was Strahd.
I got tails. Okay, so are each of these squares 5 feet? What are we doing here for a range?
they're about 10 feet.
Okay, so really I can only get... You know what? Fuck it, I'm attacking Strahd.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, I am going to use my action to Radiant Soul my ass. So I'm basically doing what Toren did before.
There's 2 of them.
My eyes start to glow and I scream up at him as 2 very large wings sprout from my back.
What do these
And I
wings
launch
look
them.
like?
They look like they're incorporeal, but they look like fluffy feathered angel wings.
You see Strahd like halt in mid-laugh, like, ha, ha, what?
And I launch myself. I can only go 30 feet, but my glaive has a 10-foot reach.
That is exactly what you would need.
You look like an angry Snapchat filter.
Basically, I really do. I look like a very angry Snapchat filter. And I am going to hit him with my first attack. And this will do an extra 7 points of radiant or whatever damage if I hit him.
My goodness.
Okay, so,
Nat 20.
Nat 20.
That is a very, very surprising attack. Comes up from below.
So that is 13 plus 13, which is 26 plus 7 radiant damage.
This is a very, very strong blow. You see before him. Where would you be striking? This is a major hit.
Well, she can only get 30 feet, so she's technically like under him, like so she's going for like his leg and thigh because it's probably what she can reach from where she is.
Your glaive moves almost as if guided, and slices through Strahd's right leg as he straddles Bucephalus. Almost the only reason that you feel the glaive stop is that you think you have cut into his bone and like scored it, such that there is a great, deep and ripped wound in his thigh that if he wasn't already known to be a powerful undead, you would think that somebody would have died just from the sheer pain of this kind of hit.
Well, that's good because I'm going to hit him again.
All right.
Just 7 points that time because I think I only get the radiant. Hang on.
Yeah, you can add it once.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, once per my turn, so just 7 this time.
Okie dokie. Even as he kind of glares at you and almost says like, "How dare you!" And you see that grievous wound of his leg, of part of the flesh like flapping away. It almost reseats itself and then begins healing along that same line. And that's when you strike again with your weapon. And as that digs into him, you see that it had already started to heal almost completely. But your second hit has gone in and healed some, but then halted. And you can see Strahd look down at his leg, and he's holding onto the reins of Bucephalus in one hand, and looking down at where his wound has almost completely healed, but did not go all the way. and you just hear him make a snit with his teeth. Just, and he looks at you and at your fluffy wings and your shining glaive
She's
with
gonna
his...
smile at him.
Who are you?
She won't answer.
Naughty. All right. That's
Character as Strahd. Naughty.
he will kind of tug on Bucephalus's reins, making sure the horse doesn't move for a second. Looks back towards the hill and says, "What are you waiting for?" And the lightning is now striking ever more atop that high wall, and some of it is staying upon that wall and kind of arcing from stone to stone. And the druids and berserkers who had been there have now vacated that point because the lightning is arcing around and around, almost going in a carousel motion until it arcs into that vestige, that effigy, standing 50 feet tall, and you can see it pouring in and glowing a bright green into the center of it. And then there is almost like a ball lightning type of effect, except much, much larger than you had ever seen or even heard of before. This is a great sphere of blue-white light in the air that launches up. The green light diminishes there in the chest of that Strahd statue, and the ball lightning leaps over, even southward, across the hill. And you hear the druids all exclaim in a single voice, "Tree! Tree! Mr. Tree!"
I am Groot.
Ooh.
There is a
What?
great ripping in the side of the hill. There are some plant growths there on the rear of it. And you hear a roar in the way that is somewhat of a mix between a great beast and a great dragon.
Shit.
And clumping up over the top of Yester Hill, there is what Segrid recalls to be a tree blight, a monstrous thing of wood and evil. And as it tromps up the hill, it is coming and has a familiar, not face exactly, because a lot of the flesh has rotted off the bone, but as it stomps up to the top of the hill, there is a skeleton with some scale still left upon it, embedded and grown and twisted into this great body of blight leaking black wood. And for Toren, Dantiir, and Segrid, this is a familiar face. That's skull lolls between one. But as this great mouth of wood opens up in the chest of this tree blight, the skull also roars, and it is the roar of a fully draconic green dragon, something that they had not heard from their friend Tristan Scalegrove in all of his life, cut short as it was.
That's so amazing.
And Mr. Tree Mr. Blight Tree reaches into, with one great set of vines and branches and draconic bone, rips that effigy in half, and with its other branching arms and skeleton, it's as if Mr. Tree is wearing this magnificent arboreum exoskeleton, reaches in and grabs out a green glowing gem, and you see light in Tristan's eyes, well, the eyes of his former skull, and he swallows this gem, and you see this green glow coming from within it. And you hear again from all of the berserkers and the druids, and they cry out in one voice, chanting, "Tree! Tree! Mr. Tree!" And they all charge forward towards y'all.
Oh shit.
Dun, dun. Now I'm just going to make him move a bit because it's a big hill. So you've got ahead of, from the top of the hill, a lot of people. All right, Segrid, what you doing? There's a familiar comrade, most of their bones, atop the hill. A familiar monster that was almost the end.
Sigurd's going to remember what those vines felt like, but we thought was her death. She's going to scream. How far away is it from us? Oh, quite a ways.
Mhm.
I'm just going to start running towards it, just probably screaming the entire time.
Mm-hmm. About 100 feet. Oh, we'll close this distance pretty quick. Then that means it is Toren's turn.
Okay, I am so upset right now. Do I know the story of what happened to them? That they were eaten by trees? Would anyone have shared that?
I told you like twice.
Well, I don't listen to you.
Well, then that's your fault.
I don't believe your stories.
Well,
And I'm
I-
pretty sure that Segrid completely collaborated it as well.
That's true. He would have believed Secret. Okay, so I am running after Segrid. Am I? Because I know you're probably faster than me because my speed's only 30. Would I be able to get close enough to touch her as I run?
It's only 30, so you could probably do it.
Hmm.
Okay. So I will go running up behind her, and as I touch her, I'm going to cast Freedom of Movement on her.
Okay.
So for the next hour, her movement is unaffected by difficult terrains. Spells and other magical effects cannot reduce your speed or cause you to be paralyzed or restrained. And you can also spend 5 feet of your movement to automatically escape from non-magical restraints, such as manacles or a creature that has you grappled.
That's amazing.
And if we're underwater, you're fine.
And
Okay.
I'm going to stage whisper because we're running and she's screaming that I have her. Like, I've got you. And we're just running pell-mell up the hill.
Hellbell up the hill. Former camera. Oh, it cut out a little bit for Segrid.
No.
Or maybe it's cutting out for me.
It's cutting out for me.
He's cutting out for her.
Yeah. You will be right back.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Alright. You know what? This would be a good time for us to take a quick 7-minute break.
Before we all
And-
die.
Before we either die or have to kill Mr. Tree.
Yes. Oh, he's dead. Let me tell you.
Again.
It's just his
Again.
soul and his bones and his body that are still there. That's all.
Those are the important parts. Especially that first one, the soul.
Lots of
All right.
minutes. Okay, we'll go back to a quick break, everybody. We'll be back. And we are back. So that means that right now we had Toren catch up to where Segrid was storming up this hill and has blessed her with some freedom of movement. That for an hour, Sigrid's movements unaffected by difficult terrain, spells can't make her go any slower or be paralyzed or restrained, and even regular physical restraints, Sigrid just can spend 5 feet of movement to get out of those. Alright. The druids who are about the hill, who are still chanting the name of the old familiar companion, stalwart champion of justice, the former green druid instructor whose body now moves with a monstrous force. Mr. Tree is atop Yester Hill, and they are charging as if they are to make to Mr. Tree a great offering of fresh flesh. And you see them raise their quarterstaffs high, and they almost seem to light their bits of, I say quarterstaffs, but it's lots of like really old branches, things that you've seen from the old Svalak wood, twisted, and something just wrong with this kind of wood, but they are all shining with their magics. Some of the druids seem to grow their own form of bark over their skin, and they pull down, almost if by magic, over their face a kind of wooden face mask as they charge around the hill. And Strahd von Zarovich, who is still looking down at his leg, almost as if he is furious at it for not healing as much as it should have, for not being perfect, for being injured in any way, as if it's his leg that is to be at fault. And in Anna's direction, he will leap off of Bucephalus.
Oh, snap.
And as he jumps off, that means that it's only like a 10 feet thing.
Mhm.
Anna, do you have any reactions or things that happen when somebody goes through your glaive range?
I hit them.
All right. So as Strahd launches himself off this horse to give you a tussle, let's give this a hit.
Probably doesn't hit. He's probably got a bigger armor class than 11.
He kind of almost pushes your glaive aside as if it was some errant branch. And as he dives to you, you feel... Well, you
I
feel
feel nothing.
nothing as he just tries to grab hold of you, and your aura, your wings, your very ASMR being itself is just too much for him. And you see in his face, it has gone from just rage to...
Oh wait, the second attack hits. I didn't realize those were 2. Sorry.
I think
Oh, it
it's
was?
advantage.
Oh, is that an advantage?
Oh, yeah, that's
or is
advantage.
that
That's
a
not the second.
Okay, yeah, he doesn't hit.
Let's see. I think I need to query his advantage, yeah. So that first attack, it doesn't hit, and you see that his eyes have changed from what he expected to have happen, from his rage, to not exactly shock, but more like frustration at this point. And he just tries to strike you again with a heavy fist.
Yeah, that works.
Ooh.
And just goes dizzying, and then he has you by the throat, and you are both in the air. And so you have taken 7...
I have resistance to necrotic.
Wonderful. So you take 7 bludgeoning damage and only 8 necrotic damage. And he has you by the throat there in the air. So I believe that you can still move as your regular flight is available to you, but he is holding on with a burning grip.
Okay.
And Bucephalus kind of moves slightly away. It's kind of not exactly prancing, but has moved slightly there in the air, and so you are in this deadly dance. Dantiir, you've knocked out one druid there near the front. Its head is still bleeding. There's more druids and berserkers coming this way. And there's a former comrade atop that hill.
Okay, so I'm going to go catch up to Segrid and Toren.
Mhm.
And before I do, I'm going to have Strahd make a wisdom save.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not that great, but. Wait.
Yes.
What is he wearing? Because I'm going to change it to a dexterity save.
It's. We were talking about how Toren needs help with his flirting. Dantiir does not.
No. What's he wearing?
It's a very tasteful piece. It was made by probably some of the finest of cloth tailors.
Any metal?
Buttons.
Can I use heat metal on his buttons?
Absolutely.
Okay. Then I'm going to have him do a dex save instead.
Okay. So
Actually, no. There's no save for that.
it just heats.
Yeah. So he's going to take that fire damage. 14
Okay.
fire damage. And then if he doesn't take off the buttons, or he needs to make a Constitution saving throw.
Ah, I see. If those buttons will stay on him, or if he has to.
Yeah.
Well, we can't
He has to
exactly
try and
drop
keep-
the buttons. Okay. Hmm.
11 save. It should be 15.
Oh, there it
So
goes.
he makes the Constitution save, but I can still bonus action him on fire
Awful. Okay.
every turn. And for my bonus action, I'm going to give Segrid inspiration.
All right. A bonus D8 when you need it. Cool. And so everybody's all caught up at about the same level. That'll be about a third of the way up the hill. Anna, you are in mortal struggle with an immortal. So you are
Okay.
somewhat immortal yourself.
Yes, I'm going to cast protection from good and evil on myself. So I have protection against Strahd because I'm assuming he's an undead. Okay, so he has a disadvantage on attack rolls, and I can't be charmed, frightened, or possessed by him.
Hmm.
And then, can I attack as a bonus action? Like one attack?
If you... Yeah, you can do that.
Okay,
It would just be without any of your ability part in the damage.
that's fine. And I will sort of heft my glaive up and try and stab him with the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that does not work very well.
He's distracted by some burning buttons on his waistcoat, and as well as what he was trying to do, looking into your eyes and give you a bit of the Strahd charm, and it wasn't working. Imagine now if you're fighting Leslie Nielsen in the air. His
Okay, Anna lets out a little bit of a chuckle.
Like I always do.
it's
A
like,
normal Thursday night.
what are you smiling about?
You're cute when you're mad.
His smile is turning into a snarl. He has never had this happen to him ever in his experiences. And so that's when, well, Mr. Tree, glowing with green gem light and arcane energies, tromps down a third of the hill himself, and you hear a roar from in, and he reaches down to the ground, and you see sections of this tree blight grow down as if roots have sprouted from these sprigs of branch and arm and dragon bone. And around him there are like the equivalent of giggling plants.
That's terrifying.
As from around Mr. Dragon Tree, there are now a veritable mini army of twig and vine and thorn blights. And, well, there's something to behold. And that's what Mr. Tree does on this turn. And the berserkers who are nearby, they get their chance, I think, in order to get a little closer to everybody, as this comes to quite a head in this part. Let's see. We've got one who is close enough, I think, to Dantiir to make a difference in maybe some of this tide. And the others closing in the direction of this wood army, though they stay just off to the side. So Dantiir,
I
one.
forgot to move myself.
Yeah, and they're up there with me.
Yeah.
Segrid and Toren.
I'll say that you're about a third of the way up. Let's see. So Dantiir, it's going to go ahead and use its reckless ability. It's holding nothing back. So it's got advantage on this great axe attack against you. And that'll be just a little bit of... Well, it'll be a little painful if this connects.
Probably will.
And...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's... Let's
no,
say
no,
that's...
no. I
Roll.
have, as a grave cleric, I have Sentinel at Death's Door. I negate
Normal one.
the critical effect.
Oh ho!
Because he's within 30 feet of me.
You just turn at this berserker who has that effect that Segrid had on the barrel, that great slash. You just turn at him, and Toren says no,
Go!
as if this berserker is just one lazy cat who's going to bite your brother. Just no. And so instead, Dantiir, you only take 11 damage as this berserker still comes down. Very similar to a cat, just still doing what you meant to do. So 11 slashing damage in whatever way that you have it. Nice. And the other ones get closer. Segrid, what you doing?
She wants to keep going towards the tree, but I would think she probably hears one of them get hit and hurt. So she's going to turn around and go after the one that hit Dantiir.
Okay. This looks like the worst of the wild folk you have ever encountered.
I don't think she has words right now, so she's going to rage. And she's going to hit it with a great axe.
Oh my gosh, okay. That definitely...
And you get advantage
Oh.
for reckless
True.
attack.
True.
Oh yeah, it's true, because the berserker is at reckless point.
Just in case it's a nat 20.
I shall do it again.
Ah!
Yeah, there you go. That's that too. Just for that chance, and that chance happened. So that's a lot of damage for that berserker, and you see just blood slough off. But although it is of the worst of the wild folk that you have encountered with, much like the wild folk you are familiar with, they're of tougher stuff, and they're almost shrugging off this damage that you've given to them, though it is serious. It almost laughs as you pull out your great axe from him, and puts all 5 fingers across this wound, this great wound that you've made, and raises it as if looking back up towards Strahd and then up to Mr. Dragon Tree. It says, "Power!" And Segrid, you hear those whispers again, and they're just very earnest and very strong, and they say, "Claim my spear!" And you get a very, very strong pulsing from a cairn, a stone cairn. It's not the ones closest to you. It's the ones about halfway up the hill. Almost being overrun by the blights that Mr. Tree has brought forward. They are passing by one just on the, I'd say, on the direction of your right as going up the hill, and you just feel that there is a pulsing from those stones.
Okay.
Cool. Anything else from Segrid?
Not yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's it for me right now.
Cool. Okay, so this guy is cut half to hell.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait. Sorry, I forgot. I get 2 attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Forgot about that, so I was running again. I'm so sorry.
Time. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's another hit. That's that's a lot. So he's got this blood out, and then you're just like, you know what? Match it for the other shoulder, and this guy is probably only standing due to his rage and great pecs. That just, there's a lot of meat on that breastbone, and
There's so many great pecs in Barovia.
it's their only export. If anything could be exported and wasn't just trapped in the mists. This is why nobody knows. This is the greatest secret.
It is.
You found
So
it.
many nice pecs.
The pecs in the snow. All right, Toren. What's our ASMR Grave Cleric doing now?
I am gonna try to Sacred Flame this guy that Segrid is wailing on.
Mm-hmm.
This never hits. Here we go.
Now 7 levels later, it should do
Hold on,
something.
that's the damage. You didn't roll the attack, you silly thing.
It's a dex save.
Ah, okay.
Oh, that's right. DC 15.
They got a 9.
4 radiant damage to the face.
Sure did happen. Yes. I feel like maybe Sacred Flame doesn't scale very quickly.
It does. I don't think it does at all.
I thought it, because you get more than one flame, don't you, at some point?
No, you're thinking of Magic Missile
No.
or Eldritch Blast.
Oh, yeah, I'm thinking of Eldritch Blast.
Okay.
Hold on, I lied. It's 2d8.
Oh, there
I
we
gotta
go.
update my thing. Let me roll another d8.
Perfect.
It's a D8.
1.
Yeah. Burned 1 eyebrow clear off. That radiant damage just blasted off his face. Stupid
I'm the
bleeding face.
worst.
Just around.
Listen, Sigrid needs to destroy things. I'm just here to support her destroying the things.
You're doing great, honey.
Uh-huh. It works.
And that's all I've got.
Alrighty. In that case, we've got some druids who are coming near, and for where Toren is, the druid will get close enough and kind of wave around their staff of Sphalic wood, and where Toren is, they'll be producing a kind of a red flame itself that grows from beneath your feet. And so this is a 14 versus Toren to
Does
just
not hit.
sidestep out of the way. This is just what they do. And other druids closing in as this army just gets here. And that means it's Strahd and Anna in the air. And
yeah,
with
it's
Anna
okay.
grappled, that means that those Strahd is trying to charm her. Nothing is happening. He's looking into her eyes. He is bulging almost in that way. And he is just frustrated such that he transforms slightly there around you, Anna, and his face contorts, his brow thickens, and his cheeks grow sallow, and his fangs are almost like piercing needles there, and, well, because you can feel them now as he bites down, and he bites hard. 18.
Yes. Yep.
And you feel 9. Well, you take 9 piercing damage from that, and I think you're still resistant to necrotic right now, right?
Yeah, that's a racial thing.
Cool. So 6 necrotic damage, and you feel that leave you in your vitality, and it does not come back at this. So your maximum hit points are reduced by 6
Got it.
this time. So 6 and 9, so 15 damage on that part. And that's when he still has you in his grip, and you are moving with him just a little bit higher into the air. And so he takes you up, Anna, about 15 more feet. You are now flying 45 feet into the air.
Okay.
Cool. And Dantiir, your turn.
I am going to step forward, and my rapier is going to burst into flames.
Mm-hmm. As they sometimes do.
As it sometimes do. And 25 will hit, so that is 4 piercing, 5 fire damage.
Nice. So this berserker is slightly on fire. It's a little toasty.
And then I am going to turn and shout at Anna to get her ass down here. And I'm going to give her inspiration. In case she wants to, I don't know, try to get free of a grapple or something.
What is that? That gives me an extra thingy.
E8.
Okay. And that goes towards what? Towards
Attack, ability, pretty much any D20 roll.
okay.
Nice.
Ability check, attack roll, or saving throw.
Could be useful. Okay. Dantiir, you've stepped in to engaging this berserker, helping out Anna there in the sky. Are you good with where you are? Segrid and Toren are both nearby. There's a druid kind of on the way to you, and another druid a bit ways past him.
I'm going to move without getting out of his range of attack, so I don't get a attack up of opportunity, but I'll move a little bit further towards Mr. Tree.
All right, there we go. And Anna, you are there in the air.
Okay, so here's my question. Are these are trees?
The little army that Mr. Tree's brought up? Or
No, right next to me, like where my little marker's going off.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, those are trees.
Okay. Can I use... Okay, so this is how I want to ungrapple from him.
Mm-hmm.
I want to use my strength and my flying ability to ram him into a tree to see if that will break his grapple.
All right. Let's see. Well, then let's do. You can either do athletics or just a straight strength check, whichever one you prefer, and just see
we'll
how
do
this
athletics. And then plus the D8 if I need it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna smile at him and say, "It's been fun, honey, but I have to go." And then I know. Wait, I'm gonna use my inspiration. Like
Okay.
My
You do have an inspiration.
You do have an inspiration, an actual inspiration.
Okay, much better.
And then a D.
It is a struggle in the air.
I'm gonna roll my D8. to add to that.
You just see his muscles
Oh!
bulging, and there's this fight between the two, and there is a blazing light. And Anna, exactly how hard do you slam Strahd into these trees?
As hard as she can.
Strahd is forced down as if shot from heaven itself, and there is a splintering of an entire tree as Strahd lands directly into its trunk, sent there personally by Anna, sweet sister of Sunni. And Strahd makes a divots of earth just thrown up as he kind of slides across, breaking smaller trees, laying there in the dirt, holding onto his chest and clawing out of it on the earth where he has never been thrown down before.
Yeah, that's so dead.
Yep. It was nice knowing you. We will grieve for you briefly.
And his eyes are red.
So did that take all of her movement? I'm assuming, yes.
No, you have all of your movement left.
All of my movement left. Okay, so then I will salute him, knowing that he's going to come and kill me. And I will start flying towards everyone else.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Anna, if you could roll for me 4d6.
Oh, good lord. Okay.
Da-da-da-da.
11.
That is good. So Strahd is picking out a lot of, like, there are literal branches of the Svalak woods that he is pulling out, and blood is coming, ruining.
Did the stakes help?
I literally ran him into a giant snake.
She did.
Yeah.
Also, is he having trouble picking them out because his buttons hurt?
He is slicing those off as we go. His waistcoat is leaving in tatters, and you just hear him snarl in the background. An old Barovian saying, "You should have gone for the head." And the Mr. Tree advances. His twig blights go before him, and they overtake the berserker and druids who were going towards you. 3 of them are now swarmed by small twig blights, and this slows them down, and they don't quite understand what's happening, and they look up at where Strahd was, and they don't see him. They see the destruction around the area where Anna shoved him down, and then vine blights, those that Anna had run into back at the winery, these twisted forms of pulsing and undulating plant life, they almost enwrap and ravel around these followers of Strahd, and they begin choking the life out of them, and they pull them down, and they are very near to being used as new mulch to feed the dying Yester Hill. And Mr. Tree comes marching down this hill, and he picks up the great axe of one of the downed berserkers, and you see him add it to his branches, like a set of vines and wood twist around it, and he is wearing it now as kind of a very strange badge. And he reaches over to one of the cairns of black stone, and he grabs onto those stone and almost lifts it up as if it was a stack of well-placed bread. Just this stone, it gathers, and there are growths more from his trunk, and the stone is gathered, and it's almost like he is pocketing things and placing it on his person, and there is another roar. And the berserkers are screaming as they are being strangled to death from closest, and the ones from near them are not looking at what's happening at their comrades, and they are going forward and around and avoiding getting trapped in any of the ways of these plants. You do see, let's see, who would be able to see this? Segrid and Toren and Dantiir. No, all of you will be able to see it, especially Anna. You've got a good sight of the hill. One of the berserkers, who is on the easternmost side of Yester Hill, has seen his companions go down, like pulled down and being pulled deeper into the side of the hill by these plant monsters. And you see him hesitate, and he looks back at the rear of the hill. And Anna, you can see that there is like a small copse of trees back there, and some of them are moving. You can tell that some of them are already blighted and watching that area, and they're watching this one section, that section where Mr. Tree's twisted form had burst from the earth. And Anna, you can see that there is something shining there. And you see that that berserker off to the east side of the hill is starting to back up and turn and run in that direction, back towards where Mr. Tree had erupted from the earth. And Segrid, it's your turn.
Alright, so do I see... I'm assuming I see all these guys, right?
Oh, definitely.
Alright.
There's a lot of them. So most of them are the tiny twig guys, and about 3 of them are the brawny vine guys.
Alright. I'm gonna have my axe on the one shoulder, and with my other hand, I'm gonna reach down into my boot, pull out the stink fan, shake the leather off of it, and cast gust of wind in their direction.
Oh my god, alright.
Yes, magic fart fan!
Oh.
Magic fart fan!
I forgot we even had that magic fart fan. Alright.
They're all in a very nice line, so straight down the middle of them.
I really forgot we had that magic fart fan. Alright. Alright. So I think they do a dexterity save or a strength save in order to stay standing.
It is a strength save. You have to beat 13.
13. Alright, so of the first ones here, got 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, they're not strong.
No. Okay. So the vine blights, 2 of them, stay strangling. But all of the twig blights, as they were, they stand about maybe 2 feet tall, spindly things. They do get all blown backwards. I think it's like 100 feet, isn't it?
No, it's only 15.
Okay, 15 feet. They're at least blown out of the way, and you do see that they had piled on and were pulling down a druid and a berserker, and the twig blights have all been pulled off and away, but the vine blights are still on them.
Mm-hmm.
But that's certainly a lot more space that's gone up. And Mr. Tree, looking over at you, and you see a familiar sight. This is what had almost killed you. Just, has it been days ago? It feels like months from this past life experience. But this gaping mouth in the center of this, and on top of that you see just this skeletal form, this half flesh of your old friend. It's got an axe on it. It's got rocks. Where do you go?
She's gonna keep walking. She's gonna start walking towards him.
Mm-hmm. Axe up
I
on
don't
her
think she'll
shoulder.
run, but just walk.
All right, Toren. There is an active wind tornado keeping the smaller blights away, you see that there's berserkers and druids being pulled down into the earth forcibly by these walking vines.
So I had to go get a piece of paper because I'm going to have to keep track of some stuff. So it is time for the Radiant Chipper Shredder to come out. So I'm going to cast Spirit Guardians on myself. So everything within a 15-foot radius, which I don't think... Well, the Berserker might be.
Yeah.
I'm going to move forward a little bit. I'm going to follow Segrid. So they need to make a Wisdom saving throw.
Okay. And this one's 15-foot radius, so we can put... Berserker and Wisdom. And it's just flat. Yeah, that's a 5.
Okay, so he will take 16 points of radiant damage.
No.
Yes. Man. Wood chipper.
And then as a bonus action, because I don't know why this is not concentration, but it isn't.
Because it's
Spiritual weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And that 26 is to attack Bucephalus, because it has a 60-foot range, and I'm
No.
pointing at the horse.
Bucephalus, no. Okay. That does hit his natural beefy armor. And
he takes 7 points of force damage.
he whinnies in a way that a horse is affronted that you have done this. What's the form of Toren's spiritual weapon this time?
It's always his mace.
You hit a horse with a mace. All right. It does not like this.
I was gonna be my horse.
For better, for worse, the Berserker has now passed from the great heaps of damage that
great wood chipper.
that Segrid has laid on, that Dantiir has laid on, that your wood chipper has laid on. That Berserker is an ex-living thing. Also an ex-torsoed thing. This is... a lot of cuts went into this. And actually, I think the Druid was also pretty close enough by for that, and it actually does not have a Wisdom saving throw. Better than 5.
Yeah. So it would take the 16 points.
Great! It looks way worse than the Berserker had been from one hit. The Berserkers were the bigger boys. Okay. Sigurd's going up the hill. Toren's a wall of blades. Are you good where you are? You want to keep pace with where Sigrid is?
Yeah, I'm keeping pace with Segrid the whole way.
Cool. Let's see. Of the druids who come up, then one is coming up on you, Dantiir, and this one has its bark skin armor, and they're gonna come at you with their twisted, gnarled bit of bark. Of wood, and just try to strike you down. With I think a poor effort.
Thankfully.
A poor effort for striking down Dantiir, the bard. Let's see, our others over here. Let's have them struggle with against being taken in for plant food. One is able to kind of break off. And I'm going to have Strahd pick himself up and command Bucephalus to come to him.
Bucephalus? Come to me, Bucephalus.
Bucephalus, come to me! And Bucephalus does ride lower in the sky with a gallop, and you hear it as if this horse is on solid ground. This clops and trots, and Strahd leaps into the air and lands atop Bucephalus. And that's when they turn around, and with the rest of Bucephalus's speed, his 90 fly speed,
Lord.
I'm on a
they
nightmare.
aim right for Anna.
Yep, that's what I thought.
Okay. Anna, Strahd has both arms holding onto these reins. He's barely in the saddle because his waistcoat is gone. It's tattered. He has his short half cape just fluttering the winds. He's not even
He's
seated.
a romance novel cover.
He is.
His bare chest bleeding several places. There's burn scars down the side from a tragic button incident in his young adulthood, his elder vampire time. But there are hooves coming for you now, and these hooves clomp for thee if a 13 is good or not.
No, it doesn't hit me.
You hear it coming. There's no way not to. And Strahd just blazes past you, riding his nightmare horse. And when Strahd and Bucephalus pass, and you are too nimble to be overtaken in this way, he starts speaking an incantation. Dantiir, your turn.
Hey, I'm going to attack the druid who attacked me. So that'll be an 18 to hit.
Oh, definitely.
So that'll be 7 points of damage. One of those is fire, as I use Green Flame Blade again.
Nice. Okay, some of his bark armor is definitely scorched, and he's just trying to somewhat block you with his staffs, with his broken wood, but you are making these strikes work. And so you see this druid is hurt.
I'm going to use my last bit of bardic inspiration to grant all 3 of you 4 temp HP.
Ooh.
As I become beautiful again. Or should I say even more beautiful?
Even more beautiful again. Yeah, sure.
And I am going to risk the attack of opportunity and join my brother and Segrid.
Sure. Just that. Just that one druid lad.
Yep.
Possibly a lady. The hair's really long either way.
Either way, it missed.
Yeah. Oh, the mists.
Oh, no!
The mists, they come. No, actually, strangely, the mists of Barovia have been almost at bay this entire time. They're on the west side of Yester Hill, and although they are great and they are thick, they are fluffy clouds of chowder. You can almost see like other castles within it, towns. You can almost barely, faintly, especially now that the sound of battle is all around. It's almost like there's cities and there's places, and there's Faerun just within the mists there to the west. Anna, you were just narrowly missed by Bucephalus and Strahd. He's furious. He's nearby. There is people down below too, though. What you doing?
So I'm going to go ahead and lay on hands myself to bring myself up back to full, except for the 6 necrotic that will not come back for right now. Then, and that's my action, then I'm going to do something really stupid. I'm going to use my bonus action to cast Sanctuary on myself.
Okay.
So let's cast that. So now Strahd not only has to make a wisdom save to attack me, but he also has disadvantage because of protection from evil.
Right.
And I'm going to point my glaive straight at him, and mustering all of the radiantness that I can muster, she's going to point her glaive straight at him and say, "If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly."
Well, it was good knowing you.
That traditional Sunni saying of wisdom. All right. I'm gonna make.
Not intimidate him? Am I intimidating?
Do you want to flare your ASMR being?
Yes. I want to
Flare your nostrils.
All right. Give me an intimidation or charisma check.
I think they're both bad. We'll do intimidation. 14.
Mm-hmm. I think Strahd, though he is not backing down from where he is, he grips the reins of Bucephalus perceptibly just a little tighter, as if evaluating in these very seconds, this moment, these 6 seconds, where Anna has made her stand and has made her point a few times. And Strahd looks down and away as if he's searching for something. He's still muttering under his breath. And Anna, you see him look at where Segrid is, and Dantiir, and Toren. He does not take any further steps towards you. And that's when Mr. Tree grabs up the rest of this cairn that he was nearby, and with one arm, you see these dragon bones reach forward and just wood shoots out and grabs for the other druid that had been in between and had the twig blights blown off of it. And you see that it's just grabbed. Was not expecting it. And you see that druid pulled forward into Mr. Tree's chest mouth and bit down and bit in half, just cleanly. And there is blood and more black sap that pour out from him. And the second half. Good.
Did you do the strength save for him?
Oh, for the
Gust of
wind.
wind?
I did not. I was about to do. He got a 10.
Yeah, it'd be 13.
Okay, so Mr. Tree then is trying to hold on and cannot move any closer and is blown back. And it's just as he's pushing against these impossible winds, there's nothing that Mr. Tree's snout can sniff against. There's no flesh around his nostrils anymore. But it almost grabs hold of the two halves of the druid that it bit and places them like epaulettes on its person. And you see just more vines grow around it, and Mr. Tree's tree form just kind of hunkers down at that point, and it's just trying to reach out and almost crawl forward to where Segrid is. And the berserkers behind are now half consumed there in the earth, though they are screaming for some deliverance. And let me check with these twig blights still beyond. I'll just do one roll for all of them. That was a 1. I'm going to say that those other twig blights are blown away. They cannot hold against this. And of the vine blights, they get a 4 on here. And so they are pushed back, and at least that berserker who was being dragged down to Yester Hill is released. Yeah, both of them. Well, that one in that way. And so that means it's Segrid's turn.
Alright, I'm gonna drop the fan.
Hmm?
Well, put it back, basically shove it back in my boot. And now I'm gonna run towards the tree.
You are well within range.
Okay. When I get up to him, I'm gonna take my 2 shots.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a big hit. That's a big hit. That's a
Second
bigger
one.
hit. Let's see here. That's 17 slashing damage on that first one, and I think like 20 slash damage on the other one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Parts of the druid that Mr. Tree had gathered up are just chopped off, and you see the dragon-born skull kind of roar at that, as if that was worse than the damage that you've done to its trunk. That part of its treasures that you have torn away from it, it is offended. You see a dark purple gas start flowing from the tree's belly mouth. Cool. Where do you want to be, Segrid?
At home in bed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm probably right in front of it.
You are. You
Yeah.
are. That's where Segrid is. That's just how it is. So that means Toren, you're there. There's no longer a stinking meat cloud of gusts of wind. There's no more no more twig blights, and the vine blights have been pressed back. There's a berserker who's half buried in the ground, and there's Segrid standing against a monster.
So I know Bucephalus used a lot of movement to go get Strahd and bring him back to Anna. How, in that sort of circuitous route, how far away did he get from my spiritual weapon?
He would have been... He went down as low as like 20 feet close to the ground.
Okay.
So slightly out of the range. Anna, how high up... This might be something. How high up do you want to be flying when you were making your stand against Strahd?
She was gonna be coming back down to the ground. She wasn't there yet, so I would say she's probably like 20-ish feet up.
Okay, so they're both about 20 feet up at this point. Just
So-
5 feet out of a 15-foot radius.
Well, it's a 20-foot range. I can move
Never
it.
mind. They are right there at the edge of it.
All right, so I'm going to use my bonus action to try to smack Bucephalus in the butt with my spiritual mace.
No. Okay.
Yep.
Does a 14 hit? Oh, hold on. I'm going to use my D8.
Oh-ho.
What is going on?
You remember this one thing that Dantiir told you about horses, that if you blow in their face,
They become yours. That's how it works.
Does a 15 hit?
it absolutely does.
Yes.
He takes 11 points of force damage.
No. Okay.
And then once that's done, I'm going to move myself following Segrid towards Mr. Tree.
Okay. So that means that you are having Mr. Tree enter your whirling, spinning blades. Is that right?
Yes. So he needs to make a saving throw.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
It's not a good
It's
one. No.
wisdom.
Oh, it's wisdom. That's just a flat 7.
Okay, so he fails. So he will take 3d8 radiant damage.
Dang. Okay.
11 points of radiant damage. These d8s do not like me. And then, as my action, I am gonna finally use that scroll of create bonfire.
We had this from back in the mountains,
Hey,
from the very
you're saving
first
it for a
session.
rainy day. So now we're using it on a clear, not rainy day.
There was lightning.
That's true.
And I need to Google the spell real quick. Okay. Create a bonfire on the ground I can see within 50 feet. Magic bonfire fills a 5-foot cube.
Mm-hmm.
Any creature in the bonfire space succeed a dexterity saving throw or take 1d8 fire damage.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to put it right at Mr. Bad Tree's feet.
Okay. That's a 3, so it is not moving anywhere.
Okay.
And taking that full D8. And I believe it is currently on fire, because there is a bonfire that started.
Hey, I rolled more than a 1 or a 2! 6 points of fire damage. And it is it ignites flammable objects that aren't being. Oh no, hold on. It takes 2d8 because I don't read the whole spell, and I'm a dum-dum because I'm more than 5th level. It takes 8 points of damage.
You know what? Every bit counts.
And it is a cantrip that lasts for a minute. So anytime it enters or starts in that space, it has to do the dexterity saving throw.
I'm gonna say that, yeah.
Moves into or ends its turn there.
Okie dokie. I believe you started the bonfire in Mr. Tree. So,
yes.
because it's a very large tree. So I think he'll just be taking
Like
2d8
right in his
damage.
mouth.
Yeah.
His belly mouth?
His belly mouth. Or his toothy mouth. Which one?
He's got multiple.
Definitely his belly mouth.
Belly
That's
mouth.
weird.
Okay. You see, like, lit up from within, there is the charring remains of half a druid. Like an arm still left in here because Segrid's chops knocked off the other parts. So
The other bits.
yeah, and there had been what looked like a poisonous brew bubbling from here, and the fire is sort of evaporating most of it out of the way as it burns out the center of this tree. So that's kind of rough. Having had his steed whacked, Strahd von Zarevich is liking none of this, and will stop what he had been whispering, and will look Anna dead in the eyes. You have bought yourselves and your friends but a single night. You will not live to see another. And then he leans down and whispers something different into Bucephalus's ear, and you see the horse's ear twitch, and he lets out a loud snort, and just this gusts of red flame grow around Bucephalus and Strahd until they are covered in this burning bonfire of blaze, and then they disappear as the fire does. Anna, do you have any sorts of special vision?
Oh, no, I have dark vision.
This would not fall under that part. So to what you have just seen, and from what you can detect, you do not sense Strahd anywhere in the immediate area, and you do not hear any of Bucephalus's strong and heavy footfalls anymore. And so Strahd, Von Zarovich, and Bucephalus have been forced to retreat
Yes.
from all of you. And Dantiir, you
I'm keeping your buttons.
buttons are down there. Dantiir, what's the haps? What's the deal?
Well, if I remember correctly, Mr. Tree stuck an axe in his arm.
That's true.
I'm gonna heat metal it.
Okay, it is stuck in there really well. It's like he's wearing it as a thing. So let's just tree blight.
So he takes 13 points of fire damage.
And he's got a 15 Constitution save.
So that is exactly my save DC.
Okay, so that axe burns itself off of Mr. Tree. Oh, sorry, it doesn't burn itself off, right? He holds on to
Yeah,
it.
he doesn't have to drop or throw it.
Okay. He will, as a tree, probably have to feel that he has to. This only enrages his draconic heritage more so. That he had to let go of one of his treasures that he had just taken. So Mr. Tree is not in a happy mood.
Okay. And then I'm going to move up to stay within the circle of whirling death blades.
That's a good circle.
I like this circle of whirling death blades.
Okay.
But I'll be a little bit further back because I deal most of my damage from a moment.
Fair. All right, Anna, what you doing?
She is going to. Is this druid still just being a druid?
This druid had been trying to be a druid, but Dantiir was really discouraging it from being a living druid for very long.
Oh, so it's dead.
No, it's still there. It's just very tender.
Set it slightly on fire.
She
A little.
she will shoot it from where she is with her hand crossbow.
Nice. Oh yeah, definitely.
That hits. And then her second. Ooh!
I
Nice.
can't believe it. All right. That is powerful. So this druid is staggered. Is just on their last vestiges in this plane. This is nearly an ex-druid. Where do you want to be, Anna?
I want to fly this way.
Here you go.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I can get. I only get 30 feet, so.
Sure. So you get that far pretty easily.
Okay.
Last things you would have seen besides Strahd disappearing in a gout of flame is that berserker who's at the back of the hill. He's been fighting off some really needly
shiny
blighty
thing.
boys.
Okay, the shiny thing. I forgot about the shiny thing. Okay.
And he's nearly reached the shiny thing, but he's having a really tough time with all these spiky boys.
Okay.
Okay. And let's see. In the area of Mr. Tree, I think this is where Toren, you can roll me those 2d8s. And that'll be the fire damage from our bonfire. And 9 is more than just what an 8 could have gotten, so.
Good dreams.
This is now the moment where Toren and Segrid, you face. Well, you
Oh,
face.
and he also has to make a wisdom saving throw for the chipper shredder.
Ah, okay.
Because that's the start of the turn. That is
Also
a
9.
fail.
Give me
So
some more
he
chipper
will-
shredders.
Yeah, 3 more d8s. Lots of d8s.
Well, a D8.
12 of
Incredible.
the radiant.
You are seeing just roots being ripped apart by these angelic blades, and from within it, it still has a raging fire that smells terrible. This is not in the same sense of the rotten meat smell of Sigrid's enchanted fan. but it's a smell of almost like a physical form of regret and sorrow. Toren and Segrid and a little bit of Dantiir, you get flashes of your friend. You get these almost like emotional messages, these pangs that you feel within your chest, and they are of sorrow and they are of regret. But they are fleeting. The other shaking emotions that you feel being this close to something this deadly and powered by an incredible amount of magic, of ritual, of sacrifice. The bad that is making up this tremendous Mr. Tree wins out. And against you all, with its incredible reach, there are branches and roots that zoom out against Toren, a thick club of an arm, a 17 versus AC.
That's my AC.
You are clubbed overhead for 12 bludgeoning damage. Against Segrid, another thick branch, a 19 versus AC.
Yep.
16 bludgeoning damage. For Dantiir, in the back, a root pops up from near your boots. This is a 16 versus your AC.
How does it do 0 damage?
It just wants to hold you
Oh, okay.
Dang
tight.
it!
All right.
Dang it for a different reason.
So you are grappled, and Dantiir, it has beaten an arm at Toren. It has bashed Segrid out of the way, and from underneath the ground, that's where the roots had traveled unseen until it pops up to grasp Dantiir. And these roots now burst all out of the ground between Toren and Segrid, and Dantiir, you are pulled inexorably to that gaping, burning mouth. And that's when the tree blight pulls you in, Dantiir, and bites.
Ah!
And because, yeah.
Chipper Shredder is gone, by the way.
Aw.
So I rolled a nat 1 on my con save after taking damage.
Ow.
Dantiir is a 15, piercing
Yes. It will, and Mr. Tree needs to make a dexterity save.
you. Okay. So Mr. Tree's dexterity is not the best. And so as Dantiir pulls down 16 piercing damage from just these shards of wood, this burning wood, Mr. Tree's dexterity of 18 kind of allows this gout of flame to mostly escape. Does Hellish Rebuke do any half damage or that?
Nope.
Okay.
Anyways, let me just double check. Yeah. Half damage.
And there are no words that come from this Mr. Tree Dragonborn Blight hybrid, but you all feel just this one emotion, and it is of pain and an overpowering malice. And the other berserkers who are nearby are dragged down into the dirt by the vine blights. The berserker from behind has fought off some of the spiny thorn and needle blights, and has a shining weapon, and it is trying to run up the hill away from those needle blights. And you see him go. Segrid, this is a familiar scene, and you see, from a position like outside looking in, you see Dantiir in the mouth of this tree. The tummy mouth.
I'm gonna run after it, and I'm going to take 3 hits because I'm gonna burn my not second wind.
Action surge.
Action surge. Thank you.
Okie
You
dokie.
get, both of your attacks, so you get 4.
Incredible.
I love action surge. Being a fighter is dope.
Go for it. Let's see. Those all hit. That is a lot of damage.
Mm.
I'm hopefully trying to cut him out of the damn thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Never again. That is a lot. That is a great amount of wood that goes flying, of fire that gets spread and smothered and torn away. And Dantiir, if you could give me an athletics or dexterity, and athletics or acrobatics.
I rolled a 1.
All right.
I got 5.
The good news is you're not going to be on fire from the bonfire, because Segrid has knocked you out of that direction.
Hey.
You are still being held by the tree, by the roots. So she's knocked you off the teeth, but your legs and waist are still entangled by root. Cool. That means, Toren, you are there. Your spirit guardians have disappeared. Your brother is partially eaten. And Sigrid's in a great rage. What do you do?
So she's chopping away at the stuff that's surrounding Dantiir.
Yes. No, Dantiir is not being pierced by any of the wood. There's still a bonfire raging. If we had to put this in lumberjack terms, this tree is, if it was an Italian lumberjack, this tree is ready to go.
Okay, so how beat up does Segrid look?
Not that much.
Not that much?
She's got a couple of cuts. Maybe one that might need stitches, but she's certainly not bloody.
Okay.
Not that bloody.
Then I'm within touching distance of tree, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Then I am going to vampire touch him. Does a 14 hit?
For the magics that power Mr. Tree at the moment, this glowing green thing that you see within him, it emits a shining spark of energy, and you feel that your magic has been rebuffed.
Aha. Duly noted. Well then, as my bonus action, I'm just going to move my spiritual weapon 20 feet closer to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then That is my turn.
Okay. Then at the start, Dantiir, you had been being eaten. You are still grappled. What are you going to try to do?
I'm gonna try to green flame blade the things that like the roots on me.
Okay, go for it.
Uh,
Oh, 1 second. 9 bludgeoning damage as those roots on you give you the squeeze.
ow. Ow.
But go for that green flame blade. Let's see. Do you have any sort of advantage on this?
I don't know.
Then you nearly chop through a section of the root, and it just squeezes all the harder and kind of replaces that section, allows it to fall limp, while the main branches of it continue to grow. Well, the main roots of it around. It discards the dead section, and you remain grappled. Let's see. Do you have any bonuses? Do you have any last-minute calls?
No.
All right.
I'm just gonna cough and splutter
And bleed.
and pray.
Anna, you are just behind all of this.
Yes.
You see a berserker cresting the top of Yester Hill.
They seem to have a handle on it, right? Ish. How hurt does giant Mr. Tree look?
Oh, extremely wounded. Segrid has nearly chopped him over half of what his trunk would be.
And who is Dantiir in his mouth, or is he in?
I'm being grappled by him.
Yeah, so just
Okay.
outside the mouth.
I will fly down and try and cut Dantiir free.
Okie dokie. Give me an attack on them roots. That is exactly how much damage needed to be done to these thick roots in order to free Dantiir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is a very precise cut. You are out of harm's way, and you're no longer being the Squozen. Anna, do you want to keep your movement there, having come into tree range?
I want to get that shiny thing, so I think I'm going to keep going.
So I'm just going to try one branch as you move by. A 28 versus AC.
Sentinel.
Ooh, Sentinel. That sets off. And so Segrid, the broken but powerful fighter, slashes into the former Mr. Tree and, protecting her newest ally, Segrid, you have the ability to make this a goodbye. The skull of Mr. Tree does look at you closely. How do you end this?
I say I'm sorry, my friend. And right through him.
There is almost a roar that is felt in all of your chest, but is felt on just a purely emotional level, but a deep one. It resonates, and even Anna would feel a great loss. But there is a great sound of wood being splintered and broken, of bone being crushed and shattered, and the spine of both Mr. Tree and this blight form are destroyed and toppled, and the vine blights nearby don't wither, but they do tunnel and flow away from the hill, and the berserker atop it sees the terrible field around him and runs east and south and around the hill really quickly. And that is the end of this body of Mr. Tree. All that is left is a burning husk, some bones, some dragon scale green, as he was when he was with you, as he was when he taught his students. And amongst that green there is a glow. It is a pine cone sized gem. It's one that has dirt and slime and blight, but it's there. And otherwise the field is clear.
Would we guess that that's the egg or the seed? I can't remember which one they called it.
Yes, that Davian Mardikov had given enough clues to be able to describe what it might have looked like.
I'll reach in and grab it. And probably just hand it off to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to touch it.
I'm just gonna suggest giving it to Toren.
What are we grabbing?
Yeah, seed,
Oh.
because he knows nothing about how to deal with this sort of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't want to do something wrong and unleash blight everywhere.
It happens.
I know, right? But he is going to kneel down next to the body of Mr. Tree and say a very quiet, very short prayer.
I think Seeker's gonna sit down too.
Oh, did we win?
Oh yeah, that as you were trying to get past Sigrid's training, Trisha's instinct, Sigrid's dedication to protecting her friends, it took out Mr. Tree.
Nice.
And with Strahd no longer there, and with the berserker who had taken the shiny thing, kind of beating feet, so he's no longer there. That means that you are out of initiative, and that you have, well, to put it mildly, you have won. You have won the day.
Yay!
Yay.
Woo!
Doesn't feel like it.
Okay, now I have to tell you because
I missed all the drama, and I feel like I should be sad because I don't know what happened.
We won. We won.
No,
we Segrid killed Mr. Tree,
oh no.
Mr. Tree Blight.
Mr. Treeblight. That's a better name. Dang.
I was resisting saying it the whole time because I thought it was too on the nose.
No, it's perfect.
But and we now have the seed. Well, Toren has the seed because Dantiir ain't touching that. And I know Dantiir is planning on giving Mr. Tree a proper burial.
You do have some bones now.
But but you didn't miss that much, really.
Listen, if I come back and Misery is crying, I have missed a lot.
I mean, you missed her killing
I
your
cry
friend.
at everything. It's okay. I'm a crier.
It was a good end.
It was. It was a very. Segrid said, "I'm sorry" before.
I'm sorry, my friend.
Yeah. Yep. That was probably the moment that started it. But it was very good.
Cool. And so that is going to end our session this week with a victory atop Yester Hill, recovery of a powerful gem, defeat of a powerful enemy, and a warning to Strahd von Zarevich that you are not, well, you're not the same people that you used to be.
And we also spanked his horse a bunch.
You spanked his horse a lot.
And I set his buttons on fire. I should have done like his pants buttons. That would have been so much more entertaining.
Then he would have been a
Especially
liar,
if he
liar,
had-
pants on fire.
Especially if he had a button-up crotch.
Yeah, and it just would have been like a lot of struggle, or he
just
would
goes
have
all
had
the
to
way.
like slice his pants off.
Next time, remember
Next
that.
time, his
Okay.
buttons.
Okay, so can I tell you how Tammy and I defeated this area?
100%. For anybody
Okay.
watching, for spoilers, you can't be spoiled. We literally just did
We
this.
just did it. So
Okay, so our party snuck up to watch the druids do their ritual. They
Yes.
hadn't brought the tree to life yet.
Mhm.
My character, so we were a traveling group of theater performers.
yes, musicians,
Yes. So my character could imitate voices.
nice.
Well, we'd heard Strahd speak before. So we, through a clever use of the knock spell to make loud banging noises and thaumaturgy and pretending to be Strahd,
Mm-hmm.
I convinced the druids that the only way they could please Strahd was to kill themselves and arise again. So they committed mass suicide.
Okay. That's
And we didn't have to fight any of them.
I highly approve of that. Like,
That was pretty amazing.
I have a very large soft spot in my heart for like playing any class that can disguise self, especially warlock. Who can
Well,
just
she
do
was a
that
monk,
great.
but she had taken.
But like
what?
that
Yeah.
actor and charlatan for the background, because you can just basically forge, lie, or impersonate anybody.
Yeah, it was fun.
Amazing.
I didn't annoy the DM I played that character with at all.
I'm pretty sure that on when I was doing this as a player, I haven't taken too many people to Yester Hill as a DM, but as a player, this was definitely one of the most devastating fights we had been in Barovia, because tree blights hit so hard.
Yeah, I was at like 18, I think.
Mhm.
But like one more hit, I would have been torched.
And I think just as a player myself, I said like, oh, there's a shiny thing over there. I'm going to investigate this. Like, I didn't want to go up the center of the hill at all, and that's where everybody else went. And they were very quickly slaughtered. And I think I and one other player were the only other ones to have any hit points left over, and to make an escape. And we did not take out a lot of the side enemies. We did finally take out the tree in like desperation, in a very name of the wind, as above so below, lightning strike the tree, as I was playing an artificer gunsmith, and with
Yes.
finally gotten to the part where it can shoot lightning, and just that was the last hit. So yeah, I like Yester Hill. I hope you guys had fun playing this one.
Yes, so much.
Cool. And that was another big accomplishment. So that means that you will level up so that you are now 8.
Oh my god!
That was one of the biggest bosses here in Barovia.
All the power.
Oh my god!
I scared Strahd away.
I have to make decisions.
Yeah, you full on Jedi quoted some shit at
It
Strahd.
was so beautiful. I'm so proud.
All I
So
did was
I-
punch his horse.
My thing was that if I said that and then he killed me, I could then come back as a revenant with my goal is to kill him. And then I would just always be coming back. Like every time he kills me, like 24 hours later, I'm just like, hey,
Love it.
It's
Love
me.
it.
Miss me? Miss
That-
me?
it's
Would have
me,
com-
it's me.
would have completely worked in that way. Okay. So now it's our friendly fun times in Barovia is over for this week. We'll see you next week with same Barovian time, same Barovian channel with Bats, with Ezra. We're hoping in that part, and we'll see where we go from here. That berserker is running to the east. There's a bunch of mountains that way and things. You have now explored all of Barovia east to west. Only remains the north and south, whatever mysteries they may have, and Ravenloft itself. All right, we'll see you guys. Bye.
Bye.